Hello, welcome to At Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. This specialized television program by TV35 is designed to bring you movers and shakers, men and women, politicians, artists, people who make a difference in our fair city. Today we're visiting with Mr. Fred Stinson, and he's a mover and a shaker, and he's going to help us to appreciate our fair city a whole lot more. Hello, Fred Stinson.
Hey, thank you. Welcome.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine.
Well, welcome to TV35 and welcome to At Home with Ricky Porter.
Thank you.
I've been wanting to interview you for quite some time, and now I have an opportunity to introduce you to our TV35 audience.
Yes.
I know some people may already know you, but I'd like to begin with your work as a Protec Counseling.
Yes.
I'm very fascinated in that aspect of your work. Tell me a little bit about it.
Protec Consulting, we've been around for the last 10 years. And what we've been doing is providing psychotherapy to children, adolescents, and adults in this area, in the Dublin area.
And this is psychotherapy related to addiction?
Not only addiction, I'm a licensed professional counselor, so we do across the board, grief, anxiety, depression, any of the psychological disorders.
Okay, right. And it's called Protec Counseling. So you yourself provide these counseling services?
Yes, I do.
And you've had this going on for the last 10 years?
The last 10 years, yes, sir.
But I also understood that you do training for people in addiction specialty, or people who are counseling others with alcoholism and drug addiction?
Yes, correct.
But is that also a part of Protec Counseling?
Yes, it is. It's another offshoot of Protec Consulting.
Okay.
And what we decided last year, we thought about bringing in addiction courses because GACA, who is the authority in the state of Georgia,
Correct.
You have to get approval to them for professional development. And it was a counseling addiction course in Warner Robins, but they closed down, so we thought it'd be a good opportunity to pick it up here in Dublin.
So you offer a course for people who are wanting to learn more about addiction and people who are wanting to provide counseling on addiction.
That's correct.
And you yourself, you are already licensed in this area.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about your license in addiction specialist.
As I mentioned, I'm a licensed professional counselor, FPC.
A licensed professional counselor.
Yes, sir. And I'm a master addiction counselor, which is a
Master
national.
addiction counselor.
That's correct.
Wow. So you have a master's in addiction counseling.
That's correct.
Wow.
And I'm a certified addiction counselor in the state of Georgia, level 2.
A certified addiction counselor in the state of Georgia.
That's correct.
Wow. So you teach courses to men and women who are working with people who are suffering from alcoholism and drug addiction.
That's our primary goal.
That's your primary goal.
Me and Mrs. Nikki Harrison, we teamed up together and we provide the courses here in Dublin. And what we want to do is help people who are counseled in training or who already are CAC 1s or CAC 2s.
Now, what is a CA?
Certified addiction counselor.
Certified addiction counselor.
A CIT is a counselor in training.
So you're prepared to teach people to become certified addiction counselors?
That's correct.
Wow. And so you have an associate, her name is Nikki
Harrison.
Harrison.
Yes.
And she works with you also.
Yes.
But in terms of Protec Counseling, in addition to working with people with alcoholism and drug addiction, you work with people with any kind of problem.
Any kind of problem, yes, sir. Children, adolescents, adults. I have helped serve veterans. I also did assessment for veterans. So my service has been called upon for many different things. And I'm available here in Dublin.
We're visiting with Fred Stinson, a certified licensed counselor here in Dublin, and we're learning more about his work and his contribution to our city. Is alcoholism and drug addiction a big problem in our city?
In our city, in the state of Georgia, and in the country of the United States.
Wow.
Yes, it is. It's a real big issue. The state of Georgia is providing funds so that people can get the treatment that they need. We also provide funds for prevention and intervention.
Now, I was quite aware of the opioid addiction in the United States,
Yes, sir.
particularly in places like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They almost call that the opioid capital in the United States. But you're saying here in Dublin, there's a rampant problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's all over the country.
I know it's all over the country.
Specifically in Dublin, though, we have a lot of issues. I'm a consultant for a methadone clinic here in Dublin, and what we do is provide services to those people to kind of reduce the epidemic, loss of life, loss of loved ones, the criminal aspect of it, trying to reduce all that by providing methadone treatment to those people.
So you're a counselor at a methadone clinic here
Yes,
in
sir.
Dublin?
Yes, sir.
And you work directly with the clients?
Yes, sir. And I do the clinical aspect of it too, work with the doctor and the nurses also. So it's like a multi-level team, so when a person comes in, the doctor sees them, then the nurses see them, then I see them. We did evaluation, and then we get them on the right dose, and then we educate them about methadone, and then start the counseling services.
Now, recently, maybe a year or two ago, you were in the Courier, the newspaper. I think you were in the front page because you received your doctorate.
That's correct. That's correct.
And so you got, how many people get their doctorates and get on the front page of the local newspaper? But you did. So it's a PhD?
Yes, sir.
And your PhD is in what area?
It's psychology.
And psychology.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're using your talents and you're using your gifts
Yes.
to help those who are wounded,
Yes, sir.
to help those who are ailing.
Yes, sir.
And your firm, Protec Consulting,
Mm-hmm.
it's about 10 years old, and you operate out of your own office building
Yes.
on Gaines Street?
On
am I
Gaines Street.
correct?
That's
Right.
correct. Not too far from here.
Not too far from
Yes,
here,
sir.
not too far from TV35.
TV.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So tell me more about your work, meaning you work directly with individuals, clients who come into your office.
Right.
You also work with individuals who are becoming trained to work with others who are afflicted with alcoholism and drug addiction.
That's correct.
And then you're also working at a methadone clinic.
That's
I didn't
correct.
even know we had a methadone clinic in
We have
Dublin.
two in the state, in
So-
the city of
So when we
Dublin.
speak about a methadone clinic, we're speaking about people who are addicted to heroin
Yes, sir.
or other opiates.
Right, correct.
And they use the methadone as a way of weaning them off the harder drugs.
That's correct. That is correct. That is the philosophy. It's used to help people reduce the withdrawal symptoms so they can come off the painkillers
Correct.
or the heroin use
Right.
and then get back to mainstream society, get back to taking care of their family, get back to taking care of their jobs without that interference.
Is there a lot of heartbreak for you in all of this work, or do you see much success? I'm not trying to throw you a ball out of left field, but it would seem to me that you're working with a population of people who are hurting, a population of people who are suffering, people who are in need, and relapse is always a component.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep yourself, Fred Stinson, the positive, on the alert guy, working with such a population?
Well, one of the things, you have to take care of yourself first. So I've learned how to take care of myself from a spiritual standpoint and a personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint. So if you can't do that, you can get pulled in and it can become disheartening because people relapse, and it does happen. 50% of the people that leave treatment less than a year are going to relapse. I mean, that's just what the statistic shows. So it can get disheartening, so you have to prepare yourself professionally, for those people, for the interaction, for the ups and downs that goes along with the career. And I prepared myself fairly well, to work with people and to keep myself spiritually grounded, socially grounded, professionally grounded, so that it doesn't interfere with me when somebody goes out and relapse.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk more about your preparation because I think it is absolutely quite fascinating. If you are just joining us at home in Dublin with Ricky Porter, we're visiting with Fred Stinson. Mr. Stinson, Dr. Stinson, is a local counselor here in the city of Dublin. He has an office located on Gaines Street. It's called Protec Counseling, and he works with individuals suffering from alcoholism and drug addiction. He works with them as clients, helping them to gain sobriety and recovery.
Yes,
and he also works with men and women who are wanting to become trained as certified addiction counselors.
That's correct.
Right. We were talking about you're taking care of yourself. What do you do to take care of yourself spiritually and emotionally so that you are not overwhelmed and that you are not overburdened by the work that's in front of you day after day?
Well, I have a God that I serve, and that God helps me, stay strengthened, and I focus on that God. He gives me guidance, and I have to go to what's called church, absolutely, to get that strength and that encouragement so I can stay on this journey, because it can become quite tedious. And then they can have the professional aspect component. You have to get so many years, every 2 years of continuing education, so that you can stay abreast of the most recent evidence-based practices. And so you can recharge yourself when you can get back into the field or get back to your office and go out and help these people who are suffering.
Wow.
So
spiritually, you stay grounded in your relationship with God.
Absolutely.
And professionally, you pursue continuing education. What was your most recent continuing education?
We was down at St. Simon Island.
St. Simon's Island.
Was it early part of this year? We was at St. Simon Island about 4 months ago.
4 months ago.
And the Georgia Addiction Counsel Association had a workshop down there from Thursday to Sunday. So we was down there all week. Give you a chance to hear some dynamic speakers.
All speaking about alcoholism and drug addiction?
Alcoholism, drug addiction. One of the new things that was on the calendar this year is the acceptance of MAT, which is methadone, or medication-assisted treatment.
Medicated assisted treatment.
Yes, sir. A lot of people in the state of Georgia had this stigma about methadone. And so now even
what is the stigma? You're just on another drug?
Yes, you're trading one drug for another one.
But is that not
it doesn't
true
work.
to some degree?
That's not true.
It's not true?
No, it's
Tell
not
me
true.
more.
Well, you are trading one drug for another one, but look at the benefits, okay? If you don't come into our program, then your son or daughter is going to be out there in the criminal aspect of buying, selling, drug from somebody that they do not know. And then we know also now the evidence shows that a lot of these people are mixing these drugs with fentanyl, which is a deadly drug, and they're overdosing. And so coming to us, we monitor them. We give them, they see the doctor, they see a counselor, either every week or once a month. And so we'll stand on top of them and help them provide them some psychotherapy and some counseling so that they can overcome the issue.
Wow.
Versus you don't get anything out here on this end, but you're just caught up in the aspect of it.
Correct. And would I be out of line to say that when you go with the medical assisted, such as methadone, it's the lesser of the evils, you
Yes,
might
sir.
say?
Yes, sir.
I mean, because with the heroin addiction and other opioids, such as pain medication, Oxycontin, et cetera,
Yes, sir.
we've been experiencing horrific fatalities.
Yes, sir.
Now, are there treatment programs that are available in our community for people who are suffering with alcoholism and drug addiction?
Yes, there's several programs here in the city of Dublin. You got the Community Service Board here in Dublin, and they service individuals with alcohol and drug issues. And then you got 3 or 4 private entities.
Or like Promise of Hope.
Like Promise of Hope, yes, sir.
Now, you mentioned the Community Service Board?
Yes.
What is the Community Service Board?
That's the state facility in this area, this region.
The state facility?
Yes, sir. It's state funded, and
state funded.
They are open to anyone that has a problem.
So families could contact the Community Service Board?
Yes, sir.
And the Community Service Board makes referrals?
Well, either they provide the in-house services to that individual. If they need to refer out, they will do that. But most of the time, they have doctors and nurses available so they can take care of the person.
Well, we'll talk more about that. We're going to take a break for a moment. We're visiting with Fred Stinson, a local businessman and a licensed counselor here in the city of Dublin. We will return in a moment and have some more conversation with Dr. Stinson.
Portions of this program are brought to you by Altera Networks.
Hi, I'm Helen Powell. Been serving the Middle Georgia area since 1985. If you would love an exciting career, please call me. Careers in Cosmetology, 129 North Franklin Street, 272-1967.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm an upcoming graduate from Careers of Cosmetology. It's been a wonderful experience, and I encourage you to contact Ms. Helen Powell for more opportunities.
Hello, I'm Christy at Careers of Cosmetology. I've recently enrolled here and I'm excited about the opportunities that lie ahead.
Hey, my name is Daphne Jackson. I'm excited to be enrolled in Careers in Cosmetology. If you would like this opportunity, contact Careers in Cosmetology.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. I've been enrolled in Careers in Cosmetology for about 4 months now. I'm really enjoying it, and I think if this is the career for you, you should definitely come see Ms. Helen Powell.
Careers in Cosmetology, 129 North Franklin Street. Our number is 272-1967. Give me a call.
Hello, welcome to At Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. If you're just joining us, my guest today is Dr. Fred Stinson. Dr. Stinson is a licensed counselor here in the city of Dublin. He's also a businessman, and we're going to talk a little bit about his business enterprises in the city of Dublin. And we're going to talk a little bit more about his work with alcohol and drug addiction. So welcome, glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. You know, we've talked on numerous occasions.
Yes, sir.
And, but I think this is the first time on the air we've talked with this kind of substance.
Yes.
You got yourself academically trained so that you can deal with alcoholism and drug addiction in terms of providing services to men and women who suffer.
Yes.
And you have gone so far as to get your doctorate in the field of addiction
Psychology.
Psychology.
Yes.
But in the aspect of psychology, you work with men and women who suffer with alcoholism and drug addiction.
That's correct.
And Protec Consulting, which is an agency that you have,
Yes.
You work with men and women as clients, but you also work with men and women who are training to become certified addiction counselors.
That's correct.
Now, would you mind sharing with all of us a little bit about your own personal story that got you even exposed to this entire field of alcoholism and drug addiction?
Sure. Back in the 1970s, you know, I was introduced, like a lot of young people, you know, adolescent, introduced to drugs, and I started using drugs at as an adolescent, and then it progressed, and before I knew it, I was using drugs on a regular basis, and crack cocaine became my drug of choice. Back in 1987, I caught a charge for possession of crack cocaine, and from there I had to go to treatment. And I went to treatment, and that's when I was first introduced to treatment, evidence-based treatment, with a counselor. And a counselor told me at that time, he said, "Fred, have you ever thought about being a counselor?" I just brushed it off. I said, "No, I'm not, that's not my forte." But years later, it became an interest to me, and I started pursuing being a counselor.
Wow.
And today I have 25 years.
25 years sober.
25 years clean. I call it clean time.
25 years clean time.
Yes, sir.
From alcohol and drugs.
All mood altering chemicals.
Well, you are a great testimony
Yes, sir.
in your own personal life. And now you are a servant.
Yes.
And Protec Consulting, through your academic work and your office location, works with men and women who are suffering from alcoholism and drug addiction. And you're also at a methadone clinic.
That's
where
correct.
you're serving as a counselor as well.
That's correct.
Now, let's sort of shift gears and talk a little bit about your being Fred Stinson, the businessman. I have this card that says Stinson Enterprises Incorporated.
That's my family business. Like, we started that back in 2011, and we're just trying to find some ways to give back to the community and do some things. And so we bought a building here in Dublin, and we set it up as a place where, you know, people can come. We got a banquet hall there. It'll entertain about 50 people, so people can rent it for entertainment.
Does the
baby
building
showers.
have a name?
The Palace. That's the name
It's
of the.
called the Palace.
Yes.
So it's the Palace, and it's located on Gaines Street.
It's located on Gaines Street.
And so it's a venue for families, churches, or entities
Churches,
who are
yes.
needing a place
Baby
for
showers,
baby showers,
weddings,
weddings,
yes.
receptions.
Receptions, yes, sir.
And you've had that since 2011,
Yes, well, it's been open since 2014.
2014.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
2014.
And how's business?
Business going kind of slow, but you know the doors are open. We're getting a lot of calls and a lot of referrals. So business is going kind of slow, but
Well, hopefully this will help you a little bit in terms of presenting you. Fred Stinson owns The Palace on Gaines Street.
That's correct.
And it's a place for people to rent for social events.
social events, any kind of social events, you know,
But
we
you-
screen them.
I like the way you introduced it. A family business giving back to the community.
Yes, sir.
Tell me more about that way of thinking.
Well, I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters.
5 brothers and 5
Yes,
sisters.
sir.
And where
And-
do you fit in?
I'm the oldest boy, and I
You're the-
have
Wow.
oldest boy. I have 2 sisters that's older than I am, and we're just a really close family. And we always look for opportunities to not just help ourselves, but to help other people that's in our community. And so when this opportunity came up to buy this building, then we just thought it would be the right thing to do. And then since I was living in Dublin, they made me in charge of, you know, setting it up, you know, getting it ready for rental.
Are you the only family member in Dublin?
I'm the only one, yes. I have the rest of my siblings are in Macon or Atlanta.
And you were born and reared in Macon.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so now Dublin is your adopted home.
Yes, sir. The last 20 years I've been in Dublin since 1998.
Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
you were only 2 years old when you moved here. We're visiting with Fred Stinson, Dr. Fred Stinson, who is a licensed counselor in alcoholism and drug addiction, and who's also a businessman here in the city of Dublin, Stinson Enterprises, with a venue called The Palace on Gaines Street for families, churches wanting a venue for social events, giving back to the community. I want to talk a little bit about your degree. I was very jazzed and grateful and pleased when I saw you on the cover of our home newspaper, The Courier. You had on your regalia and you were receiving your doctorate degree.
Yes, sir. It was a special day. That was in 2015. It took a lot of work to get to that stage. Took 7 years, really. I was a graduate of Capella University. That's where I received my doctoral degree in psychology. And it was just a special day. It took a lot of work, you know, Mr. Porter, I have to say. A lot of work, a lot of endurance, a lot of perseverance, a lot of up days, down days. But it was worth it.
Where did you get your master's?
I had my master's from Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville, and my BS is from Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville,
Right.
and my associate is from Macon State College.
So
Well, it's now Macon, Middle Georgia State University,
Middle Georgia State University.
Yeah.
So you're Georgia through and through.
through and through.
Georgia through
And I
through.
also am a part-time professor at Middle Georgia State University.
Really?
Yes, sir. I teach
So you're a part-time professor at Middle Georgia State University.
That's correct.
And what do you teach there?
Intro to Psychology and Human Development.
So you're a part-time professor.
Yes, sir.
You're a businessman,
Yes, sir.
and you're a counselor.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And you keep yourself grounded spiritually
Yes, sir.
and emotionally. Let's talk a little bit about the courses that you teach. What do you teach?
The Intro to Psychology is
Intro
the
to psychology.
Intro to Psychology. It's the entry level on the college level. And what we do is we go over the whole gamut of psychology concepts and terminology. So we go from the womb to how we as humans, you know, are developed, you know, created, to the tomb, to how we die and go on to what we know as the afterlife.
Wow.
So we cover the everything.
It's like
in
a
between
survey
there.
course.
Yes, sir.
All right. Introduction to psychology.
Yes, sir.
Is that the only course that you teach?
Now, human development is specific, though. It's specific from our development as we grow from a child to an adult, old age, and what happened, what are some of the transition periods, and what they look like.
If you had to choose between teaching in the classroom, counseling in your office, managing the business for Stinson Enterprises, which one would? I know that's a hard question, huh?
That's a hard question. I'm just grateful that God gave me the opportunity and the talent to be able to do all these things. And I can't sit here and say which one I would prefer, you know, to do over the other. I just embrace them. I mean, I think God has equipped me, you know, with the talent, with the skills, and with the spirit, you know, to carry these things out. And so I just love all of them, really. I love all of them.
I think that's absolutely great. God has blessed you. God has gifted you.
Yes.
And you're giving back to the community. You're giving back to your family. You're giving back to friends.
Yes, sir.
I think that's wonderful. What would you say to our TV audience, to those who are suffering with alcoholism, drug addiction, those who are seeking for help,
Yes.
who are wanting intervention, needing some support? What would you say to our TV audience?
Well, as soon as you know you have a problem, please go get some help. It's been
But what if they're not capable of getting help?
Well, we do have services based on your income. If you know, you just have to show up at some of these places, like community mental health. It's a sliding fee, you know,
Very
interest
good. Now,
fee.
do you work with community mental health?
No, not at this time. I did back.
But I think that's a great point. So you're speaking that in Dublin we have an agency called Community Health.
Yes.
Right. And so people can go to Community Health.
Yes, even if they don't have any funds, they don't have transportation, they help with transportation. They help them get in front of a counselor, a therapist. If they have just psychological issues, they have a doctor on staff. So they provide a lot of services. But if you have insurance, you have more options. You know, you can go to different private clinics or that's in Dublin and get those services.
Right. Now, there is a facility on the VA campus here?
Well, they have the Quentin's Place. It's on the
Quentin's Place.
Quentin's
That's
Place,
what I
yes,
was
sir.
about to say, right.
Yes. But they also have a facility for women with children also.
Oh, really?
And the name of the facilities is
No, but
gone.
you.
There's always one team that will come through.
Dublin Chevrolet!
From our Chevy Cruze to our Silverado, we've got what it takes to score.
Dublin Chevrolet! The only dealer you'll ever need.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
Cut lawn mowing down to size with the help of the friendly folks at Hometown Supply. Get the help you need on choosing the right mower and setting up the right payments to fit your budget. Get 12 to 24-month payment options with our in-store financing and make life a little easier. Visit the friendly folks today at Hometown Supply in downtown Dublin, right across from the skyscraper. Hometown Supply, making life a little easier.
Yes.
Well, we're talking with Fred Stinson, if you're just joining us, and we've been talking about his work as a doctor in psychology, working with people who are suffering from alcoholism and drug addiction. Dr. Stinson works as a counselor at a methadone clinic here in Dublin, and he also has Protec Consulting. And now we're introducing you to opportunities in our city. He's mentioned community mental health, and then he's mentioned Quentin's Place. So if you or loved ones are in need of services, you may contact Dr. Stinson directly, or they can contact Community Mental Health directly.
Absolutely.
They can contact Quentin's Place directly.
Yes.
They can contact their pastor of their local churches
Yes,
directly.
they can contact me also.
And they can contact you.
Yes, I have a lot of referral sources, and I'll be glad to introduce them to those people.
We only have a few minutes left. I'd like to give you an opportunity to collect your thoughts and give a word of encouragement to those. I know you started on that a moment ago when you says, if you're in trouble, get some help,
some
etc.
help.
But I sort of cut you off.
Yes.
And I don't want to do that now. I'm glad that you've been with us at TV 35.
My pleasure.
I think we're all proud of what you're doing. You are Dr. Stinson. Protec Consulting,
Yes, sir.
and you're training people to become certified counselors in alcoholism and drug addiction.
That's correct.
You're also serving as a counselor of a local methadone clinic.
That's correct.
You're also a faculty person at Middle Georgia State
Love it.
University teaching introduction to
Young
psychology.
people? Yes,
Right.
sir.
So give our community, our TV audience, some word of encouragement. And you can look directly at our camera.
Yes, well, like I was saying earlier, if you have an alcohol or drug or substance use disorder, please get some help. There's some help out there for you. regardless of the amount of income you have, we can help you. If you need some referral sources or contact, you can please contact me. Ricky will display my contact information at the end of the broadcast.
Yes, we
Or
will.
you can contact me directly, and I can refer you to someone, or I might can be able to provide the services. But there are services out there. I mean, God loves you, I love you, the community of Dublin loves you, Ricky loves you. He brought me on
I do.
he brought me on the program so that we can, let people know in the community that, hey,
Exactly.
things are out here, resources are out here available.
You don't have to suffer alone.
You don't have to suffer alone.
Yeah. Your heart, this is a calling for you.
Yes, sir, it is. It has
you
been.
You feel God's hands upon
Absolutely, it has been. So I have nothing to complain about. I live a good life. I'm not rich, but I just love being of service.
Right.
And I'd be welcome to service you or give you some information to help you with whatever it is you're struggling from, whether it's psychological, from a psychological standpoint, or whether it's a substance use disorder.
Thank you for joining us at Home in Dublin with Ricky Porter. Our guest today has been Dr. Fred Stinson, a licensed counselor who has his own agency called Protec Consulting, and he's also a businessman. Stinson Enterprises, The Palace on Gaines Street, available for rental for social events, and also a faculty member at Middle Georgia State University.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure, Ricky.